In that situation, it was. In that situation, we were trying to get that done, and that's all part of it. And then getting our O-line comfortable that when we do get a defensive player to jump in the neutral zone, if we're in the tap world, to be able to tap.
Hey, Todd, it feels like there's a competition for that third linebacker spot. And Easton seems like he's been out there a decent amount, especially with Carson out. What have you seen from him?
Well, I mean, all he does is work. And we were just talking about it yesterday, his attention to detail, right? Rarely makes the same mistake twice. Every day is the same for him in terms of his attitude, his energy, his body language. And I've been impressed with all of those linebackers, including him. You can certainly see the difference when the pads come on. You know, I think at times we get enamored when we're in the spring with guys that can run around and have athleticism, but obviously all of those guys, along with Easton, you can really see their strength when the pads come on.
Hey Todd, we just talked to George Warhop. Like, what kind of priority was it? Like, how high of a priority was it for you to bring him here?
Well, it's a high priority. I mean, I've been with George. This will now be our 6th year together, 3 in Tampa, then 2 in Baltimore. You know, we've been through a lot together. We kind of were able to play off each other a little bit. He believes in the same things I do. You know, in terms of making people deal with us, running off the football, physical style of football. So it was critical. I mean, you can't do it by yourself. I mean, getting George, Coach Schweitzer, Danny Breyer, and Ian, all those guys to come from Baltimore, along with Mike Bajakian and Jeff Blasco, guys I'd worked with before, makes the transition a heck of a lot smoother.
Todd, what's the last installation today? What are we going to see?
Today is insert play actions and insert runs. So really that's what it is today. With a fullback or tight end, insert and play actions off of that. And then there's some others that are almost auxiliary that we wanted to get in today. And there's a few repeat concepts just because as you get further along, the installs shrink.
When you talk so much about 10 cadences and all that, my question is, when you have to go to a silent snap, what kind of work goes into preparing to use it?
It's definitely a challenge, and because in those instances you probably don't carry all 10. You just don't. Try to carry as many as you can, but it's certainly much harder on the road when you go to a silent count, for sure. Forces you to be extra diligent, guys be on point, and then a lot of it ends up, a lot of the onus falls on the center now, right, in terms of delaying the snaps and the variations and the mannerisms, if that makes sense, of the center.
Todd, we saw that Joe Thomas was here yesterday and that he met Spencer Cornell. I don't know if you had a chance to talk to Joe yourself, but how valuable is it for Spencer to have a resource like that?
Well, when I was interviewing for the job, and then when I got the job, I had reached out to Joe. Joe obviously played for George as well, Warhop. And I said, hey, we got a spot for you if you want to help us coach. And he said, I love to coach. He said, I don't think I want to commit to an everyday contract. So I said, well, that's fine. Anytime you want to come out here and help our guys, you're more than welcome. And we certainly would welcome that. Well, sure. A number of your, I don't know if the word is auxiliary staff, but those that don't have a position group, certainly one of the advantages you have to having a big staff is they have time to be able to spend with our players when maybe a position coach is getting ready for another meeting. So Danny Breyer was with me in Tampa a while back, but he was on defense. And then he was with us at Baltimore for 3 years and now with us, and he's been invaluable in terms of projects, in terms of game planning. And obviously Felton coming back here really has headed up, along with James Cook, the ability for our guys using their iPad more efficiently. Really, that's the biggest thing to their advantage, and study when they're outside the building.
With maybe the last install getting mentioned, how will things sort of change
It'll change a little bit in terms of really we drill down into who we think we are at this point. Obviously subject to change, but that's really it. And then you'll get into more of situational football. You'll get into maybe more of your trying to get to premier plays. You know, you'll try to work in, now that everything's installed. Then you'll also have to start working a little bit in terms of what we don't see from our defense, if you're talking offensively, in terms of odd front, which you're going to see from a number of the teams we're going to play this year, especially the place I was last year. So we got to work a little bit of that. That's really what you start to dive into.
You know, everybody talks about stacking one good day after another. And just in Watson's case, he had a good day yesterday, that was obvious. Have you seen the quarterbacks be able to stack good day after good day, or has there been inconsistency?
That's sometimes. I think it's probably been like anything when you're installing, you're going against a really good defense. I'm not sure stacking days has come up. I think what we're trying to do is stack as many good plays as we can within what we're asking them to do on a given day. I'd much prefer stacking really good days, but as a head coach, if the offense is stacking really good days, it probably means the defense wasn't stacking a very good day. So within every practice, usually there's give and take, some ebb and flow of practice, some things that you all don't see and some things that at the moment we don't see till we see it on tape. So it's really how many plays in a row can we stack? Today we'll get a chance to move the ball a little bit. We'll get a chance to see a little bit like 2 minute, where you do have to stack a number of plays, where when you're just installing, you're just running plays and it's hard to really know, are we really being efficient consistently to be able to move the ball and score points?
Even though you have been installing this whole entire time, can you see the vision? Can you see flashes of what this can be if it all comes together? When you look
Sure.
at it and see all those
I think you can see, first of all, the first thing we're trying to do is create the best version of our players that we can and get them to the top end of their measurable skill set. If we do that from a developmental standpoint, and then we have a system that allows our players to play fast, then we have something. But it starts with the players in terms of developing them to play at the highest, like I said, level of their skill set. So that's the first part. Are we getting our players to improve on a daily basis? At times, we may not see it collectively because we're rotating a number of players. But I think ultimately get that right, then what do they do well, and then blend them into the system and then see once we get moving the football, Bills, preseason games, really start to see it come together.
Saw that video though.
A few of your key players got together and hosted a baptism worship event this summer. Talk about the bond you see with this team that makes it different than the ones in the past.
Well, you can see the connection that we have, the guys, and I think that's a credit to them. I mean, they like being around each other. You can see it in the locker room. You can see it on the field. You can see it by the way we warm up. You can see it when they're around each other. I think our staff does a great job with that. I think certainly we would want our players, started in the off season, it's our job to make our players want to be here around us in terms of their development piece, right? Are they getting everything they need to make the most money they can and for us to be the best team? Well, that connection's a part of that. They want to be around each other, want to be around the staff, feel like they're getting developed, and I think that's carried over.
Todd, I think that defense is up to 12 interceptions so far this camp. Just when you watch those back, how much of that maybe relates to some of these disguises in the secondary that we've heard so much about so far, and how's that install process going?
Some of it's part of that. I mean, 12 interceptions, you're looking at probably all the above, right? Really good players. One of them's Denzel making a great play. Some fall down, come under the umbrella of pressure. Quarterback's under duress. Sometimes it's a misread. Sometimes it's a poor call. Didn't put him in a very advantageous position. Sometimes you get a tipped ball. Quarterback doesn't keep it neck down underneath, and the ball gets tipped against zone defense. So it's really all the above. But disguises are part of that, and really good football players are a part of that.
Saw that video of you talking to the team in the huddle. So people call you crazy, and you're okay with that?
It's a matter of what term they use it by, and what's it reference of. I mean, crazy in terms of like what we all are crazy in a little bit of what's important to us, right? Like crazy's probably strong, but I mean, passion might be it. Might be that, like when we get out there, we cross the lines or we go in the meetings. I mean, it's our job as coaches, as I always say, is to confront anything that gets in the way of winning football. I mean, that's our job. I mean, ultimately. And so that part of it is going to frustrate me when we don't, including myself. I hope I do a good job of owning that when I'm not on point. And I feel like I have over the years. So that part of it is I owe it to the players for what they want out of their careers and what we want out of our team to when we go out there, that we should fight like hell to be perfect in everything that we do, knowing that we're going to fall short. But we ought to fight like hell for it. If that's crazy, then I just feel like that's my job. So.
Good.
Yep, thanks.
Okay.